All right, so we'll start with the first bakasha. All right, so what's the first bakasha?
Das.
Das. Okay. All right, so let's just read it. Yeah. What? We did that already. All right, so you have to translate also.
I have no idea.
Okay, I can do that for you.
All right, go for it. Read it and translate. Ata chonen.
I'm gonna read the whole thing and then translate the whole thing. Okay?
Can I just get it?
Well, no, read the first statement and the second statement. All right. Ata chonen.
Ata chonen l'adon das u'mei l'nosh binah. You graciously endow man with wisdom.
Well, slow down. Say it again.
English.
Yeah.
You graciously endow man with wisdom.
Endow. So you graciously, okay, which is chonen, okay, to man wisdom, umilamed,
and teach insight to a frail mortal.
Okay, yeah, you don't have to translate Enosh that way, but fine. But also, Enosh means that, like, fine, weak man, okay. Second statement. Second statement. Chanenu. All right, so what do we...
Endow.
Okay, endow us with...
Graciously from yourself.
Right.
With wisdom, insight, and discernment.
Okay, so Dea, Bina V'Haskel. Baruch Atah Hashem. Okay, yeah, what does each one mean? What's Dea?
It's knowledge. We just asked the first one why somebody goes from the giver of Dea, Bina V'Haskel to just Das there in the bracha.
That's a good question. Well, that would imply what?
Right.
Well, that's one good question. Not that Das is number one.
It includes all of them.
Right, it's all inclusive. Good. All right, so yeah, that's the what?
What if you have this version?
The Sephardi version, which is okay. Chochma bina v'da'at baruch Hashem Chanadad. What? Yes. So we'll take that up also. So it's a question of whether Das is the paradigm or whether it's the meta category, where it includes everything. But whatever. That's okay. That's one question. Okay, what else? Come on. There's a easy question, a no-brainer here.
What's the difference? How does he know?
Okay, well that's also a good question. All right. What's the difference between?
What's the difference between the first statement, right? The second statement's got all three, kind of like a summary.
Like why
the first one?
Better. Okay, that's a good question. Why is this the first bracha?
Bakasha.
Right. Why is this the first bakasha? What's the first thing we ask for? Das. Okay. But is it an even better question? Another question. What?
How does he know it?
I don't know. That's okay. We could talk about that. How God endows us with knowledge.
Are you trying to loop this?
There's no loop. Look, notice I broke it up into two statements. Okay. What's the first? What does the first statement say? What does the first statement say? Okay. There's something different about this bakasha that no other bakasha has, which is no. Not just the theme, but in so far as the structure. Ah, okay. So this bakasha, the first of all bakasha, starts off with what? A non-bakasha, right? Like think about it. We say Rafa'inu, Hashivenu, Slach Lanavinu. Those are all requests, right? This starts off with you are the Chonen Das, right? And then we say the bakasha. So why? Why should that be the case? All right. Why should that be the case? Why does this start with a shevach instead of a bakasha? It's the only one that really starts off that way. Okay.
Is it a sheva?
I don't know. It's a statement. Let's say it's a statement.
It doesn't sound like a sheva to me.
But it's not a bakasha. That's for sure.
Right.
Right. So why isn't it? It's a fact. It's a fact. So we have to answer why that should be the case. Okay. The Ian Tefilah says. He says it is. He asks this question. He says, Kol brachos ha'emsoyos matchilos b'bakasha. So all the bakasha brachas always start off with the actual request. Milavada bracha rishona hazos, right? And what does it start with? With shevach. He calls it shevach. Okay, starts with shevach. So why should that be the case? So he says it is. He says lefisha shalosh rishonos kuman shevach. So the first three brachas, right? Magen Avram, Chaim Esim, and Akel Kadosh are all shevach. Okay, so he says. Lachein hischilu gam es emsoyos b'shevach. So therefore, they started this with shevach as well. K'nei lahasmich shevach l'shevach. All right, the lavor b'hadraga mishevach lebakasha. So to go from shevach to shevach, and then step off from shevach into bakasha. All right. So what's that idea? Yeah. So okay, well there must be an idea they're trying to express.
Maybe Dylan's idea.
Which is.
So
okay, good.
They're
So
not separate. They're not separate.
It's right. So to start out the category of bakasha, we make this statement, this shevach. Okay.
Did they do that?
Okay. So what's that? That's the question you have to ask. In other words, the Tefilah is very nice. Okay, so at a thematic level, he's saying that you go from Shevach and you don't just jump into Bakasha. Even within the category of Bakasha itself, there's some sort of transition from Shevach into Bakasha. In other words, it's a funny way. That's why Chazal are kind of humorous. But there's Shevach, Bakasha, Noda. Right? So Akel Kadosh is the end of Shevach, right? And then Ata Chonen begins the category of Bakasha. But in entering into the category of Bakasha, you first must make a statement of Shevach. Okay, right? All right, that's the categorical breakdown. But the question is, why is that necessary? We just said Shevach, so just start saying your Bakasha. Okay, so you're going... Right.
That's the best way to show it.
Right, so you're going with the, which is not a bad road. The road that Tefilah wants to take is, okay, well, in Bakasha itself, there's an implicit, there must be an idea of Shevach. That's not bad, all right? But I think you can go further than that, even further. All right, because what's necessary, why is that necessary when you enter into Bakasha?
Because when you want to ask someone for something, you don't just ask, you want to kind of get on the good side.
But we did that already. We buttered up God big time in the first 3 brachas. God is buttered up.
You don't want to just hit them, you want to slowly go into...
But how much slower could we go? But you're getting there, you're getting there.
Half Shevach,
One more.
half,
Right.
such a thing. Don't just go from like, oh, you're the best. Okay, now give me this.
I think the answer is like this. The answer is that when we enter into Bakasha, it's critical to understand that God is the source of each specific thing. In other words, in the theme of Bakasha is...
If that's the case, then why wouldn't I expect every single Bakasha to start off with?
No, so that's the thing. So once you make that statement, okay, once you make the statement that God is the source, then that you have that idea in mind, and now that carries through in every single Bakasha you do. In other words, it's not defining, here's the thing, this is what I have to say. It's not defining that specific Shevach. It's saying that God is the source of, it's not defining that Bakasha, rather it's defining that God is the source of all the Bakashas in this category. So it's like the heading of the entire category. You understand? So now we, perfect, good segue. Well, but now we segue, that's a perfect segue into why do we start with Das? Why is this the Bakasha we start with? But I'm just saying that as the chapter heading or the categorical heading of Bakasha, you must recognize that as I enter into these specific Bakashas, that God is the source of all the stuff. Ata Chonen Lam Das, that you're the source of Das, i.e., God is also the source of Rifa'enu and et cetera, et cetera. And by the way, how do we also know that to be the case? There is the Tefilah, in a sense, cheats, even though the brachas never start off with that. But what do they always end off with? Chonen Das, or okay, so which means that he is the Rofe. So you're going to have that in the Chasima. You know what I mean? What I'm saying is that the statement we make of the Shevach is to note that God is of all the Bakashas we're going to engage in, God is the source of it. Yes. In this state of mind of being independent existence, you always have to remind yourself who is the source of everything. Always.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Yeah. So that's okay. But now the question is: so what is so important about Das? Right? I mean, if I had to ask the average person what you'd want to start off with,
Can we define first?
we will. We have to explain what each these things are. But if I ask the average person what they would start off with in Bakashas, what would they probably say? Well, so Barech Aleinu, Hashem Elokeinu, Asher Nazos, right? That's really the bracha parnasa.
Don't you need
But you're right. In other words, obviously,
Acknowledge that it's not like a table. It's just
Right.
it's different.
well, so obviously, man ultimately, what makes man, right? What's the starting point to define the existence of man?
Man compared to what?
Everything else.
Right.
Well, right now we have
Tefilah.
Das. Well, I'd say no better. I mean, Das. In other words, the mind. Let's just use for now. It's called the mind, okay, or the soul. So that feature, which is really the essence of man, that has to be the starting point because that's what makes you different than everything else. Nothing else in the universe, as far as we know, has, or at least on Earth, has this capacity. Nothing. Right. So the first thing you have to recognize is that we have this capacity. But what's the niceness that? Well, before we define the different terms, what's the chesed that God's doing for us? We're not saying.
putting us on a higher
I don't think we're saying that God's like channeling knowledge into us.
He's putting us on a higher plane than all other beings.
Okay, so why is that a chesed? You got to be careful now because being on a higher level also produces a certain egocentrism. Like, look at us, right? So by putting us on a higher level, what is it allowing us to do? And this is where I think where the chesed emerges.
Torah mitzvahs.
What?
Advance.
Advances so far as what?
Torah
Serve God, better.
mitzvahs.
Well, okay, that's the actions, but yeah. Reflect ourselves, right? Well, okay. But But even better, but we're still in das though. Perfection, that's more of like Re'ina V'anyenu, V'Reinu. No, I'm sorry, Slach L'Avinu, right, and Hashivinu. That's in perfection. This is just simply the mind. You know what I mean? But think about it. What do we get to use our mind to do? To, like you said, worship Hashem. But think about who?
God.
About God. In other words, by giving us a mind and a soul, we now have the capability. The chesed of God is He gave us the chance to be able to have some understanding of God. That is the chesed of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Giving us a mind wasn't to differentiate us from the other species so that we can think that we're on top of the world, although many people think that way. Rather, He gave us a mind. The chesed of God is to give us a mind to be able to now advance our knowledge of God, to actually have the means of understanding God. No other species has that ability. Nothing. And that's the greatest chesed that HaKadosh Baruch Hu could possibly do for you, to give you that chance, that opportunity to study Him, right? Through those vehicles in the back and other vehicles. We do say Chonenu me'itecha, right?
What does that mean?
From you. In other words, we say so what, right, for the Ashkenazim, let's define the difference between Dea, Bina, V'Haskel. How would you define that? Dea, Bina, V'Haskel.
What
It's the same as-
How do you translate each of them?
What does the hospital?
Maybe.
How do you
You tell me. If you say that Dea means knowledge, okay, and then Bina means understanding, so you should start sensing something here.
What's Haskell?
falls into.
Oh, hold on.
It's more the more to you you're able to. There's something.
There are three parties here. Sorry, I'm sorry.
There's knowledge. There's an idea.
Okay.
And there's something done with it, which just makes it clearer. It becomes clear. That's what it is. Understanding is more clear than knowledge. Knowledge.
Okay,
is
good,
not
good, good,
clear.
good. So what's Haskell?
There's the knowing, the knower, and the knowing.
Okay. What?
Knower, knowing. Okay? The known is the knowledge. The knowing is understanding, and the dot.
So I'd say like this: Dea is Dea is obtaining knowledge itself. Okay, the mechanism of obtaining knowledge. Bina is understanding what you've obtained, right? Haskell is taking that which you now understand and applying it. Okay, so I would say that's the progression. Dea, so you want to be able to obtain knowledge. Bina, to take that knowledge and understand it, right? And Haskell, through the using it, that's why I'm using the term like use your seichel, meaning you use your mind and how to apply it in your dealings with the world. So Tzvidava just hit the jackpot there, okay? In other words, that's what Dea means. That's what Das says. In other words, God, it doesn't mean that God is funneling knowledge into our brain. Rather, God provided us with what? What was the chesed of God? He provided us with a universe of
Knowledge.
Of ideas, right? And we have the means to use our minds to access those ideas, right? But the question is, but God's not doing the Bina and Haskell. In other words,
He does say Lameda and Noshbina.
right? Okay, well, to help
what is
teach
that?
it.
That's the hard part.
Oh, okay. I think I can answer that. But I'm just saying the point though is that God provides. It's not that God's funneling knowledge into our brains. God provides us a universe, and the universe exists in a way, whether it be, back there in the Svarim, through the Torah, through the natural world, whatever those means are. The point is, we have a universe of infinite knowledge, and we have the means of tapping into that infinite knowledge. So the overall, we'll pick this. Well, no, let's pick it up next week. So when I start preparing for share, but the overall, remind me. But the overall concept, though, is really that God is provided us this blueprint. Okay, the blueprint of the universe, which includes Torah and everything else. That's the blueprint that man has the means of accessing, right? And that's us using what makes us differentiated from all the species properly, to take that who we are and apply it to the world of knowledge that God created for us.